If it is or if it ain't, it's going to come out. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspirational juice. It is June the 16th, 2023, and today the topic is, I'm Not Your Superwoman. Whew, happy Friday, y'all. Happy Friday. I hope that you all had a great day yesterday. Mine was just fine. If you care about me and my day, then y'all got to listen to me on the after show, because I feel like it's time to go ahead and get to this topic, because listen. A few things, y'all. A few things. First of all, I woke up early this morning. Can't remember the time right now because it's not significant to this conversation. But, yeah, I woke up this morning. You know, I made a note of it. I looked it all up, that type of stuff too. But, listen, I did that. Kind of tried to go back to sleep. My alarm went off. I listened to the prayer meditation. I did my whole thing, y'all. And then I started looking up, reading what I had come across with the, Bible verse that I, Googling the time I woke up, looking into the Strong's Concordance. All that stuff was speaking. And I was thinking that I was going to talk about something along those lines. But eventually I started to, I think I started to look into one of the topics. I can't even remember what it is now. And ultimately, this phrase, I'm not your superwoman, came into my heart and mind when I came across an article at gotquestions.org. One of the topics or whatever that I was looking into this morning led me to, again, I was getting ready to go deeper and look into that. And I went to gotquestions.org to look into it. But whatever I searched led me to one of these articles. And I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, the first article that I came across was, how can I avoid enabling someone else's sin? I said, ooh, that sounds interesting. And then I went and read it, y'all. And I was like, you know what? Okay, Lord. So listen, I don't know who this is for today. It's kind of like, maybe it's just for me, and I'm okay, you know what I'm saying? If it's just for me, fine, but I feel like this may be for some other people as well. I hope you find freedom today with this conversation about I'm not your superwoman, and this is for men and women, you are not Superman, I am not Superwoman. Get in where you fit in when it comes to that conversation or where you fill in the blank, but we need to get this in our spirits today. This is what I'm receiving overall. That we need to get this into our hearts and minds and spirits today. That we are not Jesus at the end of the day. We are not Superwoman. We're not Superman. We can't take on everybody's things. And our attempt to do so, what I'm receiving, we might be in disobedience attempting to do so. Y'all can go deeper. I implore you, please, by all means, check out the different articles that are in the Go Deeper section. There's 3 of them on there that I know if you guys take some time and let them marinate on your heart, souls, and minds, that they will bless you and hopefully, encourage you and inspire you. But I'm going to give you the juice this morning based on that. If I remember the details about what I looked up this morning to get me to it, and because like I said, it didn't have anything to do with this conversation, but when I read the article and the Lord put, I'm not your superwoman on my heart and mind, I laughed, but I also was like, feeling convicted. Like, okay, Lord, what I'm going to do? I'm gonna. And the crazy thing is, I still kind of question it, because even after I read the first couple of articles, I was like, this is good, and I had started writing it down. But then I was like, well, what about this and what about that? And what I'm receiving about that today is we talking about one thing at a time. So this is just one conversation. We're not talking about, any other aspect of the conversation. We're only talking about this one thing. We are not Superman. We are not Superwoman. And there's just certain things that God is doing that we might be getting in the way of when it comes to other people. So let's get into this conversation, y'all. I'm not your Superwoman. Shout out to Karen White. Obviously, that's some lyrics from her song Superwoman. I did look into like who wrote it and whatnot and stuff, but that ain't important. She the one sing it, so I'm just gonna call her name out. Anyway, let's get into this conversation. So I looked up the definition of enabler, y'all, and this is what it says: a person or thing that makes something possible. A person who encourages or enables negative or self-destructive behavior in another. Listen, look. I think I don't know if, like I said, I could just be stepping on my own toes this morning. You know what I mean? I definitely know some situations where, I don't think I go out of my way to be an enabler, but I think I'm like, as I was reading the articles, I could see how perhaps maybe I have crossed that line of enablement, enabling, things of that nature. And yes, I felt that conviction as I was reading the verse this morning, the different, the articles this morning and whatnot. I was like, Lord, are you? Am I getting in the way of something? But as I was reading, I was like, you know what? This is true, because at the end of the day, when I think about my life, right? I know there's a lot of things that, for example, my family, and whatnot, raised me in a way to learn from other people's mistakes. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that I avoided, right, in life and whatnot. But then there's things that I went through, right, that got me to be who I am and where I am today. And so because of that, sometimes what I'm receiving by studying this morning is that we could be getting in the way of people's blessings. We could be getting in the way of people's change, or people's, you know, the good things that God is trying to do with people in their life by enabling them, by, either, being a crutch for people in times where the Lord is trying to not just test, but like take them through something and get them to lean and depend on Him. Instead of leaning and depending on Him, they leaning and depending on us, and that's a problem. What I'm receiving this morning is that's a problem. Now, I got quite a few examples in my in my heart and mind when it comes to this, because I know for sure I was doing it with my ex. And I had to I guess I had to come to Jesus moment about it back then, because it was like, I had to realize that I am not God. I had to realize that there's certain things that I can't take on. Like, I can be there, I can encourage, I can inspire, I can try to do all the things. But when it crosses the line of, being something that I can handle, this is a thing that only God can handle. And that person needs to go to God about. And so I hope I'm encouraging and inspiring whoever this is for this morning, whoever listens to the sound of my voice or watching this, whatever the case is. If this is for you, I hope that, you're going to go ahead and chew up the meat and receive it today. If it's not for you, hey, just spit out the bones and, you guys can scroll and do something else or whatever the case is. But, hey, if this is for you, I hope you keep on listening. So here go some verses that I came across this morning. Since around this conversation, look, I am not your superwoman. All right, here we go. 2 Peter 2:9 stood out to me this morning, and I went deeper. And as I was going deeper, y'all, I ended up putting 2 Peter 2:4-22 into the Go Deeper section. So by all means, go read that and check that out and whatnot. But I'm going to only read verse 9, and this is what it says. Then the Lord knows how to rescue the godly from trials and keep the unrighteous under punishment until the day of judgment. If y'all, like I said, if y'all go deeper, read that entire account, you guys get more context and stuff about what all is going on in that. But what was standing out to me about this particular verse this morning is just a nice little reminder that God knows what He's doing. At the end of the day, If a person is righteous, he know how to, have them to avoid trials and tribulations of X, Y, and Z. And on the flip side, if they unrighteous, he knows how to keep them. Well, I don't even want to misquote here. It's under punishment until the day of judgment. So sometimes the consequences of people's actions need to play out, is what I'm receiving today. And so it's not up to us to get into, oh, well, I see someone going through something. These articles, they laid us all out in a beautiful way. I can't even sit here and try to butcher it up. But at one point, I know one of them was addressing that, we extend grace and mercy sometimes when we probably shouldn't. Like, we probably should just let God do what he's doing in people's life and not, like, step in as that crutch or maybe even a stumbling block to their growth or their building of faith or whatever the Lord is doing with them, for them, and through them. So again, if you got your cape on and you feel like you everybody's superwoman, superman, take it off, because that ain't your position. Sometimes your position is just to water a seed or to plant a seed or whatever the case is. Like, sometimes that's just your position. And then your position is to pray for the person or, be there to encourage and inspire, things of that nature. But when it comes to, again, the things that God is doing, let the Lord do what he's doing. That verse tell us he knows plainly how to, let's read it again, how to rescue the godly from trials. And on the flip side, he knows how to keep the unrighteous in punishment. And sometimes, again, people need to go through their consequences to get to the next level. Again, I can't imagine where I would be if everything that I went through during the cultivation period didn't happen, for example. Like, I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today. So just saying, every now and then, And here's another thing. And this is just a side note. It's not even anything that I read this morning. It's just something that maybe an observation, as well as I'll just say an observation, right? Because I have plenty of, I feel like this conversation fits plenty of friends, family members. Like I said, I feel like it's my own feet is fitting in these shoes in some instances. And I already shared one of the examples when it came to my ex in the past. If you don't get out of the way of what the Lord is doing in other people's life, then it's going to affect you at the end of the day. Like, not to be, like, because he's going to, at the end of the day, the Lord's will is going to be done, right? And so if you're in the way of the Lord's will being done, then you're going to have some things affecting you, so you can get out the way. Like, again, like me back in the day, let's just talk about me, because I can't sit here and tell everybody's testimony, X, Y, and Z. Everybody knows what's happening in their own life. In my life, for example, in that relationship that I was just telling y'all about, I just kept being uncomfortable to the point where, the Lord was just pretty much showing me, listen, ended up being evicted from the place I was living, ended up having to go, we was living in an extended stay at some point, it was just a very uncomfortable situation for me completely. Until the Lord, turned that light bulb in my head to help me understand that where I was not where I needed to be. And I cannot be Jesus to that gentleman. You know what I mean? You could be like Christ all day, but you can't be Christ for people. You know what I mean? And so at the end of the day, I had to go through those uncomfortable situations, so much so where, again, and this is so crazy. Again, this is just a beautiful way that God works. All the things work together for the good of those that love God. So it worked out for me. But at the same time, it was the most weirdest, like, situation to be in. And it's so funny now because I met my husband like this way. But long story short, y'all, like, again, I even had to go and live with a friend of mine. And for me, that was it was like a complete, like, full circle situation, because back in the day, I was the person that people lived with, and so to be on the other side was completely, like, weird, strange, didn't feel right, all these different things. And so the Lord will, he'll get you out of the way when he gon', he needs to do what he needs to do. So I don't know what's going on in the gentleman's life. I hope and pray that I pray the best for him. I pray that, he done, I don't know, but the Lord needed me out of the way to keep working on him. At least that's what I believe and receive, Now, again, How that went and stuff, that's none of my concern. Because I guess I did what I did up until the point where I wasn't supposed to do it no more, And so, sometimes we gotta just take off the cape, y'all. You find yourself uncomfortable. You find yourself, and it's not just about your comfort, but what I'm saying, if you find yourself in, I guess unfamiliar places, or you find yourself sick, or you find yourself just affected by other people and their stuff, it might be time for you to lay down to other people's stuff. That's what I'm receiving, y'all, this morning. Now, listen, I don't know who this for. And like I said, it could just be for me. But hey, the most random topic today. And like I said, I was not this was not what the numbers that I woke up correlated with or anything. So that's what blows my mind about all of this. But anyway, let me keep going, because I'm gonna tell y'all, I'll probably tell y'all some more in the after show. So anywho, here's another verse for y'all. 2 Corinthians 5:10. It says, "For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each one may receive what is due for what he has done in the body, whether good or evil." That's why the Bible said we got to work out our own salvation with fear and trembling, y'all. At the end of the day, you can't stand up on the behalf of nobody. And so, because of that, listen, I am not your superwoman. You know what I'm saying? I can't stand in the gap for everybody's sins. Jesus did that. He did that. And he can do that because he's the creator of all things. So, and he did that. And so, it's okay to have grace and mercy and whatnot. It's okay to, help the helpless and things of that nature. And that's something that I was kind of going back and forth about, where I was like, well, Lord, then what about, people in these type of situations in X, Y, and Z? And then that's when I was getting the confirmation that perhaps, to just focus on one subject at a time, because it's not taking away for what you do for the homeless, and what you do for people that can't help themselves, or what you do for the voiceless, or with, things of that nature, the widows and the children. That's not taking away from our responsibility as believers to do for people in those situations, right? But on the flip side, y'all know people that ain't in the situations. And that's what the Lord, I feel like, is talking about today. So, anyway, I got another verse, y'all. It's 1 Timothy 5:22. It says, "Lay hands suddenly on no man, neither be partaker of other men's sins. Keep thyself pure." Listen, that neither be partaker of other men's sins, was what really, really stood out to me this morning. You guys can go deeper with this. Again, y'all can read the verses I already showed you guys. Y'all can go to gotquestions.org and read all of those different articles. If this is resonating with you this morning, I implore you to go ahead and check those out, because we gotta find freedom today. Let's free yourself from taking on other people's sins. Allow the Lord to work with them, for them, and through them. And that's what I received is the juice this morning, y'all. That's the juice. Now listen, the Bible verse of today is 1 Timothy 4:12. It says, "Let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers in word, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, in purity." Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. But don't forget, today is Friday, so we have a new episode of the GSL Talk Show coming out tonight, and it's with, I call him Brother Amrit Singh. So you guys can check him out and all of his endeavors on tonight's episode of the GSL Talk Show. But yeah, y'all, free yourselves. Take off the capes that don't belong to you. And y'all have a wonderful Friday, if the Lord's will. Bye. Did you know that you can support us for just 99 cents a month? That's right, friends. You can support everything that we do here at GSL for just 99 cents a month. Take a look around wherever this post is. You might see a link or maybe even a button that says support. Go there, check out the options, consider supporting us because, we enjoy bringing you all the daily inspiration as well as the weekly talk show, but we have much, much more to come. Thank you so much for the consideration. Bye-bye.